Good day everyone. Today's training session is intended to provide greater exposure and a clearer understanding of emergency evacuation procedures to all Redwood staff and employees. This training is important to ensure that everyone is able to respond quickly, calmly, and safely in the event of an emergency situation at the workplace. There are 12 main topics that will be covered in this training session. 1. Introduction and objectives. 2. Types of emergencies. 3. Alarm and notification systems. 4. Emergency evacuation procedures. 5. Emergency routes and assembly points. 6. Roles and responsibilities. 7. Rules at the assembly point. 8. Do's and don'ts during emergencies. 9. Special considerations. 10. Drills and training. 11. Emergency contact numbers. And 12. Conclusion. What is emergency evacuation? Emergency evacuation is a safety procedure carried out to ensure that all employees can leave the workplace safely in the event of emergencies such as fire, chemical spills, gas leaks, explosions, other hazardous situations. During an evacuation, all employees must move immediately through the designated emergency exits and gather at the assigned safe assembly point. By following these procedures, the risk of injury can be reduced and the safety of everyone can be ensured. Objectives. The purpose of this emergency evacuation training is to ensure that all employees understand the actions that need to be taken during an emergency at the workplace. Through this training, employees will be introduced to proper evacuation procedures, emergency exit routes, designated assembly point locations. In addition, this training aims to improve employees' awareness and preparedness so they can respond quickly, orderly, and without panic during emergencies. With proper understanding, the risk of injuries can be minimized and the safety of all individuals can be assured. This training also helps ensure compliance with safety requirements and regulations established by the authorities. Types of emergencies. Among the emergencies that may occur in the workplace are 1. Fire. 2. Chemical spills. 3. Gas leaks. 4. Explosions. 5. Natural disasters such as floods or earthquakes. All of these situations can threaten employee safety and require immediate emergency evacuation. Alarm and notification systems. Alarm and notification systems are used to provide early warning to all employees in the event of an emergency at the workplace. When the alarm sounds continuously, all employees must immediately evacuate the area and follow the established emergency evacuation procedures. Notifications may also be delivered through public address (PA) systems. Instructions from supervisors or emergency response teams. Direct communication within the work area. All employees must remain alert and should never ignore any alarm sounds or instructions given. Emergency evacuation procedures. In the event of an emergency, stay calm and do not panic. Stop all work immediately, shut down equipment if it is safe to do so, use the nearest emergency exit route. Do not use elevators during evacuation. Follow instructions from supervisors or emergency response personnel and assist coworkers or visitors who may require help. All employees must leave the work area quickly, orderly, and proceed directly to the designated assembly point. Evacuation routes. The following are the evacuation routes that must be used in the event of an emergency at the workplace. All employees must use the designated emergency routes marked with safety signs. These routes are designed to ensure that the evacuation process can be carried out safely, quickly, orderly. Employees are not allowed to use alternative routes or enter hazardous areas during evacuation. The evacuation routes are divided into two assembly points, namely Assembly Point A and Assembly Point B. The following slides will explain the allocation for both assembly points. Assembly Point A is designated for 1. Management personnel as managers and heads of department. 2. Office staff. 3. Visitors and contractors. 4. Carpentry department, groups 1 to 7. 5. Facilities department, 6. Glass department, 7. Veneer department, 8. Sofa department, 9. Acrylic department. All supervisors must report to their respective department assembly points. Assembly Point B is designated for 1. Metal department including welding, polishing, and PVD. 2. Electrical department. 3. Maintenance department. 4. Painting department. 5. Facade department. 6. Machinery department, wood and metal. 7. Packing department. 8. Store department. All supervisors must report to their respective department assembly points. This is the Emergency Response Team (ERT) structure that outlines the role of each team during emergencies. The structure is divided into three main sections: evacuation, incident, security. Each section has different responsibilities to ensure that evacuation procedures, incident control, and area security are managed in an organized and effective manner. Roles and responsibilities: Commander, the main leader during emergencies, makes important decisions and coordinates overall actions, ensures all teams perform their duties effectively. Assistant Commander, assists the commander in managing emergencies, takes over responsibilities in the absence of the commander, supports coordination among all teams. Incident Controller, manages and controls emergency situations at the location, assesses risks and determines appropriate actions, coordinates with other ERT members. Evacuation Controller, ensures all employees evacuate safely and quickly, directs employees to the assembly point, confirms that the evacuation process has been completed. First Aider, provides initial treatment to injured persons, assesses injuries before emergency services arrive, assists victims at the assembly point. SAR Team, Search and Rescue Team, searches for missing or trapped victims, assists evacuation from hazardous areas, supports rescue operations when required. Floor Warden, ensures all individuals within the assigned area evacuate, checks rooms, restrooms, and work areas to ensure they are clear, reports status. Updates to the Evacuation Controller. Firefighting Team, controls small fires if it is safe to do so, uses fire extinguishers and firefighting equipment, supports emergency response efforts until the fire department arrives. Security Team, controls access to the building during emergencies, prevents unauthorized entry, assists rescue teams upon arrival. Traffic Warden, controls vehicle movement within the premises, ensures emergency routes remain unobstructed, guides emergency vehicles to the incident location. Rules at the assembly point. Upon arriving at the assembly point, all employees must 1. Gather at the designated area, 2. Remain with their respective groups or departments, 3. Not leave the assembly point without permission, 4. Report to the supervisor or safety warden, 5. Wait for further instructions from the emergency response team, 6. Ensure a complete headcount is conducted. These rules are important to ensure that all employees are safe and can be accounted for quickly. During emergencies. Do's and don'ts. During emergencies: do's, stay calm, follow instructions from the emergency response team, use the designated emergency routes, assist coworkers when necessary, proceed directly to the assembly point. Don'ts: do not panic, do not use elevators, do not return to the work area to retrieve belongings, do not ignore safety instructions, always remain with your assigned group. Special considerations. During emergencies, certain individuals and situations require special attention to ensure everyone's safety. These include assisting disabled or injured employees to move to safe areas, providing special attention to pregnant employees during evacuation, assisting visitors or contractors who may not be familiar with emergency routes, exercising caution in high-risk areas such as machinery zones, chemical storage areas, or hazardous equipment. Locations: all employees should cooperate and ensure that no one is left behind during the evacuation process. Drills and training. Emergency drills and simulations are conducted regularly to ensure all employees remain prepared in the event of an emergency. Participation is mandatory for all employees, including emergency response team (ERT) members. Attendance will be recorded for documentation and compliance purposes. After each drill, feedback and observations will be reviewed to identify areas for improvement. Continuous improvement measures will be implemented to enhance emergency preparedness. Emergency contact numbers. A list of emergency contact numbers is provided to ensure assistance can be obtained quickly in the event of workplace incidents. In emergencies such as fire, accidents, hazardous material spills, employees should first contact the EHS team or management, or directly contact emergency services such as the fire department, police, or hospital if immediate action is required. This list also includes the Department of Occupational Safety and Health, DOSH, and the Department of Environment for reporting incidents related to safety and environmental matters. All employees must know and understand these emergency contact numbers so that immediate action can be taken for everyone's safety. In conclusion, understanding and complying with emergency evacuation procedures are extremely important in ensuring the safety of all employees. Every employee must always be prepared, remain calm, and respond appropriately during emergencies. With the cooperation of all parties, the evacuation process can be carried out safely, orderly, and effectively, while minimizing the risk of injuries. ABC extinguishers work on 3 types of fires: Class A, ordinary materials like wood, paper, cloth, and trash; Class B, flammable liquids like petrol, diesel, oil, and paints; Class C, electrical equipment like computers and fuse boxes. In short, ABC extinguishers handle solid materials, flammable liquids, and electrical fires. CO2 extinguishers work on 2 types of fires: Class B, flammable liquids like petrol, diesel, oil, and paints; electrical fires from energized equipment like switchboards, machines, and wiring. Important: do not use CO2 on Class A fires from wood, paper, cloth; Class D, metal fires. Key advantage: CO2 leaves no residue, making it safe for sensitive equipment. But always use in well-ventilated areas. How to use a fire hose reel in 6 simple steps. 1. Break the glass and take the key from the nozzle box. 2. Open the nozzle box with the key and take the nozzle. 3. Turn on the ball valve slowly to allow water flow. 4. Run off the hose fully towards the fire, avoid kinks. 5. Turn on water at the nozzle and direct the stream. 6. Aim at the base of the fire and move side to side until extinguished. Remember, instructions are shown on every hose reel for reference.
Pass method for putting out a fire. In this video, we'll teach you how to properly use a fire extinguisher using the pass method. When fire strikes at your workplace, be sure to follow these 3 steps. Step 1. Check to make sure the fire extinguisher you have on hand is the correct type of extinguisher to extinguish the type of fire. Type A is used for ordinary combustibles such as wood and paper. Type B extinguishers are used on flammable liquids like gasoline and oil. Type C is for electrical fires, so they can be used on faulty outlets and appliances. Type D is used on flammable metals such as magnesium and titanium. And Class K extinguishers are used when fires involve cooking media, fats, grease, and oils. All commercial cooking sites such as restaurants need this extinguisher. If you don't feel you can safely put out the fire, exit the building immediately. Step 2. With the extinguisher in hand, step 6 to 8 feet away from the fire. Step 3. Use the pass method to put out the fire. P. Pull. Pull the pin so that you're able to discharge the extinguisher. A. Aim. Aim the extinguisher nozzle at the base of the fire. S. Squeeze. Squeeze the lever to discharge the extinguishing agent. Releasing the lever will stop the discharge. S. Sweep. Pointing the extinguisher at the base of the fire, move the extinguisher from left to right or back and forth in a sweeping motion until the fire is out. When the fire is out, continue to watch the fire to ensure the fire does not ignite once again. If the fire comes back, repeat the pass method. Recap: P. Pull the pin. A. Aim. S. Squeeze. And S. Sweep. Remember, fires can be harmful and fatal, so do not put the fire out yourself unless it's safe to do.
When was the last time you had to use a fire extinguisher? For most of us, fire extinguishers are one of those things we like to have around, but ideally would never use. Hi, I'm Rachel with Ally Safety. In this video, we're going to cover some quick tips on fire extinguisher use. It's going to include the types of fire extinguishers, when to fight a fire and when to evacuate, and lastly, how to use a fire extinguisher. I know your time is valuable, so without further ado, let's jump right into it. To understand how to extinguish fires, you first have to understand the fire triangle. For a fire to exist, there has to be 3 elements in place. Those elements are oxygen, heat, and fuel. Fire extinguishers are designed based on the type of fuel that may need to be extinguished. Using the wrong type of extinguisher can actually just make a fire worse. You have to know the type of fuel that you're going to need to extinguish to choose the right extinguisher. How fire extinguishers are designed to work is to remove just one side of the fire triangle. For example, a lot of fire extinguishers are powder extinguishers. What they do is suffocate the fire with powder, removing the oxygen. A water extinguisher will remove the heat from the fire. Remove one side of the triangle and extinguish the fire. The classes of extinguisher that you need to know are A, B, C, D, and K. Class A fire extinguishers are for ordinary combustibles, things like wood, paper, and cardboard. Class B fire extinguishers are for flammable liquids like diesel, oil, and gas. Class C fire extinguishers are for energized electrical equipment. Class D fire extinguishers are for combustible metals. Those are things like sodium, potassium, and magnesium. Class K fire extinguishers are easy to remember. Think of the K as standing for kitchen. They're designed to put out fires in things like deep fryers. Now, one thing to know about fire extinguishers is some are specific to just one type of fuel. For example, it may be simply a type A extinguisher or type K, but most can extinguish more than one type of fuel. This is an ABC fire extinguisher. This is actually the most common out there. How it works is it uses a dry powder to smother the fire. Portable fire extinguishers are built to extinguish fires that are in the incipient phase. This is the phase that comes soon after ignition, before the fire has really generated a lot of heat. A fire in this phase is roughly the size of an office trash can. Now, you don't want to extinguish fires that have gone to the next phase, which is the growth phase. In the growth phase, the fire starts to generate heat and grows rapidly. A fire extinguisher isn't designed to extinguish a fire that large. Most fire extinguishers only have enough extinguishing agent to last about 30 seconds. In the event of a fire, always make the decision that your safety is your priority and never put yourself in the position where the fire is blocking you from the exit. Only fight the fire if you feel comfortable and safe doing so. Now, to fight a fire using a fire extinguisher, remember the PASS method. That's P-A-S-S. Hold a pin, aim the nozzle at the base of the flame, squeeze the trigger, and sweep the base of the flames from side to side. Once the fire is out, it's not uncommon for the fire to reignite a few minutes later. So make sure that you're keeping watch until you're certain that it's out and done. Okay, so now you know the basics of fire extinguisher use. Make sure to check that you have the right extinguisher for the type of fuel available. Also, check the fire extinguishers to make sure that they're properly charged and ready to go in case they're ever needed. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next time, I'll see you later.
Carbon dioxide extinguishers have a black panel round them. They remove oxygen from a fire by smothering the flames, and they can be used on either Class B fires or electrical equipment.
To use the extinguisher, you need to position the discharge horn and then pull off the safety tag to break the seal. Make sure you don't touch the extinguisher horn once you start discharging the extinguisher, even if it's a frost-free horn, because you'll risk getting ice burns. Pull out the pin and test that the extinguisher works by pointing it away from the fire. Then squeeze the handle until the extinguishing agent comes out. Then aim the horn at the base of the fire and squeeze the handle as you walk towards the flames. Once the flames are out, step back and keep discharging the extinguisher until you're a safe distance away. These extinguishers have a range of about 1 to 1.5 meters and will last for a minimum of 11 seconds.
Do not use carbon dioxide extinguishers on Class A fires because it can cause a fire to spread. And don't use them in confined spaces because there is a risk of asphyxiation if you inhale too much of the gas. Dry powder extinguishers have a blue panel around them. They remove oxygen from a fire by smothering the flames. They're a good all-rounder, so you can use them to extinguish Class A, B, and C fires. It can be possible to use them on electrical fires and on Class D fires if you have a specific powder.
To use the extinguisher, you need to pull off the safety tag to break the seal. Then pull out the pin. Test that it works by pointing it away from the fire and squeeze the handle until the extinguishing agent comes out. Then you need to aim the nozzle at the base of the fire and squeeze the handle. You should use rapid sweeping motions to force the flames to the far edge until all the flames are out. These extinguishers have a range of about 8 meters on average.
It's important that you don't use dry powder extinguishers in confined spaces because you'll risk breathing in the powder.
Welcome to our emergency evacuation video. The best way to prepare for any future emergency is by taking the time to carefully read and understand the emergency procedures and evacuation plan for your area. Also be sure you know the route and location of all the available emergency assembly points. The emergency assembly points are usually signposted. Emergency exits are indicated by signs. There may be one or more exit doors in your area. Always choose the safest route. We must also be aware of the firefighting and first aid equipment in your work area. Fire extinguishers and hose reels must be free from obstructions at all times. The areas adjacent to first aid equipment must be free from obstructions at all times. All emergency exits and pathways must be clear of all obstructions at all times. If you ever discover a fire or smoke, warn everyone. Activate fire alarms or call emergency services on 911. If you have been trained and it is within your ability, use firefighting equipment to control the fire. Most importantly, maintain a clear escape route at all times. If you cannot control the fire, evacuate the building. If it's safe to do so, confine the spread of smoke and fire by closing all doors. If in a smoke-filled area, stay low. You must take the most direct and safest route to exit the building. In an emergency, do not collect your belongings before exiting. Remain calm. Do not run or use the lifts. Once outside, do not re-enter the building. Stay at the emergency assembly area, unless otherwise instructed or given the all-clear to re-enter the building. Be sure to see your supervisor if you have any questions or concerns.
So, what should you do in the event of an emergency evacuation? If you see an emergency, activate the alarm and notify security personnel. Evacuate your workplace calmly and quickly. Help colleagues in need of assistance. If you know of a colleague who might be injured, ill, or an expectant mother, offer them assistance to evacuate if you can. When assembling at your designated assembly point, walk with urgency and line up in an orderly fashion. This will help your floor warden or the assembly point in charge to carry out roll call and account for all employees quickly. What should you not do in an emergency evacuation? Panicking during an emergency evacuation can lead to further danger and cause potential injury to yourself and those around you. Do not crowd exit routes. This can slow down the evacuation procedure and cause potential injury to yourself and those around you. Do not use elevators if you have one in your office. It may break down due to power failure and you might be trapped. Please avoid casual approach to evacuation procedures either during evacuation or while assembling. Do not move around or away from the assembly point. Remember, this is an emergency evacuation. Do not return to your workplace until you have received the all-clear and are authorized to do so by your floor warden or the assembly point in charge.
Welcome to this micro-learning video on how to use a fire hose reel. In this video, you will learn how to operate a fire hose reel in 3 simple steps. Step 1. turn on the hose reel valve in an anti-clockwise direction. Step 2. Pull the hose and run it to the fire. Step 3. Turn on the nozzle and direct it at the base of the fire. Remember, hose reels should not be used to extinguish fires involving equipment that are connected to an electrical power supply. Here is a summary of what we have learned. To use the fire hose reel, remember these 3 steps. Step 1. Turn on the hose reel valve in an anti-clockwise direction. Step 2. Pull the hose and run it to the fire. Step 3. Turn on the nozzle and direct it at the base of the fire. Thank you for watching this micro-learning video on how to use a fire hose reel.
Thank you for your attention and cooperation.